The Wild Duck original Norwegian title, Vildingen, is an 1884 play by the Norwegian playwright Henrik Ibsen. It is considered the first modern masterpiece in the genre of tragicomedy. The Wild Duck and Rosmersholm are often to be observed in the critics' estimates, vying with each other as rivals for the top place among Ibsen's works. Henrik Johan Ibsen, the 20th of March 1828 to the 23rd of May 1906, was a Norwegian playwright and theatre director. As one of the founders of modernism in theatre, Ibsen is often referred to as the father of realism and one of the most influential playwrights of his time. His major works include Brand, Peer Gynt, An Enemy of the People, Emperor and Galilean, A Doll's House, Hedda Gabler, Ghosts, The Wild Duck, When We Dead Awaken, Rosmersholm, and The Master Builder. Ibsen is the most frequently performed dramatist in the world after Shakespeare, and A Doll's House was the world's most performed play in 2006. Characters of the play: Håkon Worl, a wholesale merchant. Gregers Worl, his son. Old Ekdal, the former business partner of Håkon Worl. Hjalmar Ekdal, Old Ekdal's son, a photographer. Gina Ekdal, his wife. Hedvig, their daughter, aged 14. Mrs. Sobby, housekeeper and fiancée of Håkon Worl. Relling, a doctor, lives below the Ekdals. Molvig, formerly a student of theology, lives below the Ekdals. Petterson, servant to Håkon Worl. Jensen, a hired waiter. Mr. Bulley, a dinner guest. Mr. Floor, a dinner guest. Summary: independent. In order to work on his invention, he often needs to lie down on the couch and think about it. During a lunch with Gregers and Hjalmar's friends Relling and Molvig, Håkon arrives to try to convince Gregers to return home. Gregers insists that he cannot return and that he will tell Hjalmar the truth. Håkon is certain that Hjalmar will not be grateful for Gregers' intervention. After he leaves, Gregers asks Hjalmar to accompany him on a walk, where he reveals the truth about Gina's affair with his father. Upon returning home, Hjalmar is aloof from his wife and daughter. He demands to handle all future photography business by himself with no help from Gina. He also demands to manage the family's finances, which Gina has traditionally done. Gina begs him to reconsider, suggesting that with all his time consumed he will not be able to work on his invention. Hedvig adds that he also will not have time to spend in the loft with the Wild Duck. Embittered by Gregers' news, Hjalmar bristles at the suggestion and confesses that he would like to wring the duck's neck. Indulging his mood, Hjalmar confronts Gina about her affair with Håkon. She confesses to it, but insists that she loves Hjalmar intensely. In the midst of the argument, Gregers returns, stunned to find that the couple are not overjoyed to be living without such a lie hanging over their heads. Mrs. Sobby arrives with a letter for Hedvig and news that she is marrying Håkon. The letter announces that Håkon is paying old Ekdal a pension of 100 crowns per month until his death. Upon his death, the allowance will be transferred to Hedvig for the remainder of her life. The news sickens Hjalmar even further, and it dawns on him that Hedvig may very well be Håkon's child. He cannot stand the sight of Hedvig any longer and leaves the house to drink with Molvig and Relling. Gregers tries to calm the distraught Hedvig by suggesting that she sacrifice the Wild Duck for her father's happiness. Hedvig is desperate to win her father's love back and agrees to have her grandfather shoot the duck in the morning. The next day, Relling arrives to tell the family that Hjalmar has stayed with him. He is appalled at what Gregers has done, and he reveals that he long ago implanted the idea of the invention with Hjalmar as a life lie, to keep him from giving in to despair. The pair argue as Hjalmar returns to gather his materials to work on the invention. He is overwhelmed by the number of details involved in moving out of the apartment. Hedvig is overjoyed to see him, but Hjalmar demands to be free from intruders while he thinks about his next move. Crushed, Hedvig remembers the Wild Duck and goes to the loft with a pistol. After hearing a shot, the family assumes old Ekdal is hunting in the loft, but Gregers knows he has shot the Wild Duck for Hedvig. He explains the sacrifice to Jalmar, who is deeply touched. When old Ekdal emerges from his room, the family realizes he could not have fired the gun in the loft. They rush in to see Hedwig lying on the ground. No one can find a wound, and Relling has to examine the girl. He finds that the shot has penetrated her breastbone and she died immediately. Given the powder burns on her shirt, he determines that she shot herself. Jalmar begs for her to live again so that she can see how much he loves her. The play ends with Relling and Bregjes arguing again. Bregjes insists that Hedwig did not die in vain, because her suicide unleashed a greatness within Jalmar. Relling sneers at the notion, and insists that Jalmar will be a drunk within a year.